So in this lesson 7.8, we're going to be learning how to generate equivalent expressions. Equivalent expressions, there's an example of one. X plus 3 equals 3 plus x. So equivalent expressions are equal to each other for any value of the variables, which means that the variable will always have the same value in an equivalent expression. That's the definition for equivalent expressions. Another example of another equivalent expression would be y times 9 equals 9 times y. And by the way, if you want to know, for both of these, we are using the commutative property that allows them to move around. And this is the commutative property of addition. This is the commutative property of multiplication. Here we have another set of equivalent expressions. 5 plus, in parentheses, or grouped together, the sum of 8 and c equals the sum of 5 and 8, and c, the parentheses moved. And this is another one. 11 times 3 times e equals 11 times 3 in the parentheses times e. And when you are, I call it bringing them together, you're having them associate with each other inside the parentheses. Anyhow, that's the associative property. That's what an English major makes sense of math. So the associative property is when they are grouped with parentheses. And again, this is the associative property of addition. This is the associative property of multiplication. But again, we are focusing on these are different kinds of equivalent expressions. I'd like you to look at this expression here, and I'd like you to think about how could we combine this into just two terms. And actually, you'd be using both the commutative and the associative property, or I can just say simplify. And the way you'd simplify is you would put the 2, add the 2 to the 5, and then add that to 3L. This is kind of what you're doing in your head, but when we do it like this, we are using the commutative and the associative property. Anyhow, so you add those together and be 7 plus 3L. So on this example here, 3 and 7/10 are minus 1 and 5/10 are. How about if you simplified this to create an equivalent expression that's only one term? Could you do it? Yes, you could. 3.7 minus 1.5. Hopefully that is still 2 and 2/10 are. So there, these are equivalent expressions. This is all getting you ready for algebra next year, unless you finish the Khan Academy. Then next little mini lesson, I'm going to do 2 videos, is just reviewing the distributive property.